Imagine standing at the edge of a high dive, staring down at the water. Your heart is pounding, you catch your breath, and you hesitate. What if I slip? What if I mess up? The longer we stand there, the harder it becomes. Now, the best athletes, the ones who execute under the pressure, they don't hesitate. They trust in their training. They act because in sports, like in life, the more we stop and think, the more we stop performing. Hey y'all, welcome to the Athlete's Health Deep Dive, the weekly episode where we get a mental performance theme of the week, dive deep into its insights through some tips, tricks to remember it, tools to apply it, and the goal here is to just bring more value to the audience, the athletes, the coaches, the parents, anyone, giving you a glimpse into some longer conversations around mental performance coaching and potentially what some conversations in our coaching could entail. Using these simple tips, tricks, and tools, adding the tools to your tool belt, your bag, so you can up your game using the tricks to remember them. Each week, we have a theme, all right? And this week's theme is stop thinking, start doing. And we're going to look all around this. It was a big topic recently and a little change up in the podcast, in the episode, putting the mic front and center instead of off to the side. Just want to see how that works. But I really was excited for this episode. So let's dive deep into stopping that overthinking, how to perform at the peak like these top athletes. Tip number one is overthinking slows you down. Have you ever choked in a big moment because you overthought it, or maybe had a moment just slip away, or you slowed down so much from it that it never even happened, right? In basketball, for instance, you're at the free throw line, the game is on the line. You start to analyze every little moment, every little thing, every little movement, the grip, the elbow, your release. Instead of shooting this naturally, you kind of just freeze and now you start thinking about it. But the elite athletes just trust in their muscle memory. They let it flow. Therefore, the key is shutting off the part of the brain that has the doubts and having us just act, right? We need to flow and not freeze is the trick. How we do this, what we can implement is breathe and go. Take a big breath and then just act immediately. No hesitation. Trigger word. Use a trigger word like a simple cue of trust or go. And it shuts off the overthinking. It symbolizes that we just have to go. For instance, each tip, trick, tool in this one, all five, I'm going to tie back to the very opening narrative, the story of jumping from the cliff, because something that not everyone knows about me, but I like to go jump from cliffs, dive in, do some flips, you name it. It's pretty fun. It's pretty exhilarating. It can get a little scary, but at the top of a cliff, before we jump in, we have to just take a deep breath and then immediately go. Otherwise, we're going to just keep running those scenarios in our head and that trigger word, jump, for that instance. Or, for instance, Michael Jordan would say that he did not ever really worry about missing a last shot. He just took it. See, the more we think, the less we do. The more we are analyzing it, the more we're freezing instead of flowing, the less we are doing. Tip number one, overthinking slows us down. And we're going to start layering these tips, tricks, and tools on top of each other. Tip number two, thinking creates hesitation. What happens when you second guess yourself in a competition? Well, a couple quick things is time elapses, time goes on, but you're still there. You're frozen. You're hesitating. You're thinking, and not hesitating in a good way with the hezi or juking out the defender. You're hesitating in a not as good way. For instance, a river does not stop. Okay, it does not think about all the rocks ahead. It just rushes right forward, right over them, right through them. But when we hesitate, we lose momentum. We are no longer that river flowing through the rocks. Therefore, the goal is to keep moving and not overanalyzing and getting paralyzed. This trick is be the river. Use these tools, add on, kind of similar, but decide in 3 seconds. If it takes longer than 3 seconds, you're overthinking it. Out there, you need to be making the game. And obviously, There's going to be specific scenarios where you're going to be like, oh, no, you have to think longer about it. You have to, yes, I know. Okay. But in general, we're trying to act and instead of think. We're trying to be the river and keep flowing. We want to act first, adjust later. Make those quick decisions, refine them on the go, see how we can utilize them. Okay, quarterbacks in the NFL have less than 3 seconds to throw the ball. If you ever watch a game, the announcers, because half the time they're quarterbacks, I swear, but they say, in the pocket, he's got about 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and that ball needs to be out. Otherwise, he needs to be running out of the pocket. He needs to throw the ball out of bounds. You name it, okay? If you haven't never noticed it, go, season's just about over, but in the Super Bowl, see if they bring it up. I bet you they bring it up at one point. See, the best ones, they do not hesitate. They read, they react. Of course, before the ball snaps, like how I said, they might be analyzing it. They might be calling out, but the game starts, the clock starts. If it was stopped, they're not hesitating. They are not really thinking. They are going. They are being the river. Thank you for tuning in to the Athlete's Health podcast. And I just wanted to share what we're all about. The Athlete's Health is an online mental gym helping athletes build confidence and resilience in both sports and life. Now, we've got something for everyone, whether it's the free newsletters, tips and tricks on them, or engaging social media content where we're broadcasting these episodes and sharing these actionable insights for you to take home and use right away. Athletes, coaches, parents, even teams, we're offering everything from these free resources to personalized coaching and monthly memberships in the gym. Plus, with partners who share our vision, we're creating multiple ways to check in and grow with us wherever you are. Now, if you have questions about the athlete's health or just want to chat about mental performance in life and just want to talk it up, reach out anytime. Now, together, we're building TAH Titans, those resilient, hardworking, and ready to conquer their goals people, athletes. Now, let's get back to this episode. Keep striving towards greatness. And ultimately, they're using tip number 3 of trusting in training. Because those we're talking about those elite athletes of those QBs of the NFL teams. How do them or other elite athletes perform under the pressure? How do they perform under the pressure? Because really, think about it, you train for months, you're doing all the drills, the movements over and over. But in the game, you start to think about every little detail. In practice, yeah, you might be doing that once or twice to fix it, but then you kind of get in that flow, right? But in the game, you start to think about all the details again, and then we mess up. Therefore, what we need to do is trust in what's already inside of us and what we've already created and what we can go out and use and put on autopilot mode. That's our trick, autopilot mode. How we can do this, the tools to pull out is reps, build the trust. The more we practice, the less we need to think, the more it is quite literally muscle and mind memory. And we go out there and act on instinct. Does a cheetah know to run super fast, to climb up the tree, to hunt it down, the animal down? No. It learns as it grows through its parents, but it's instinct. And that's what we want to be on autopilot mode. We want to feel over think is the second tool. We can focus on the sensations and not the mechanisms, not the mechanics of it. Trust that your body knows what it needs to do. And it's kind of a weird thing to do, right? When I train speed training, we need to, and vertical training, all that quickness, speed, we need to train the body to react in an instinct. You don't think about that. That quickness, you don't think about it. Or in the positions we need to be in, leaned forward, driving those legs. It's not something we think about when we do it. We're just doing it, but we have to train it so then it can go on autopilot mode. And I love to use Simone Biles as examples, but when she had her twisties, right, she was started to think about all the flips and if she could do it or not. And so ultimately she had to step back, right? But when she gets her gold, she does not think about all the flips that she's doing in the air. She just trusts her body to do what it's trained to do, and you go out and do it. Working with gymnasts, I've done it a little physically trained gymnasts just for a little while. And because gymnastics is some other type of strength, of flexibility, of range of motion, and it's awesome. But I've worked with gymnasts too, through the mental side, just a little bit, and just both sides to know everything to go through with it. And what to prepare, and then to go out there and do the flip, right? Because I mentioned I do some flips every once in a while, and to just not think about it and just do it. I don't know if there's a better instance than doing some type of flip, some type of gymnastics movement where quite literally your life could be on the line. Okay, but that's ultimately why we're using tip number 3 of trust in your training. We have to trust in the training and go on autopilot mode. Use those reps, feel, don't think. Tip number 4, thinking increases fear. You might not have asked yourself this. Honestly, I don't ask myself this too much, but it is such a quality question. Why does hesitation make fear worse? See, the longer we wait, the scarier it gets. Back to my cliff. If I'm on the top of a cliff trying to jump off it, and some of my family members do this, and you're debating it in your head, you're thinking, oh, should I jump? Should I not jump? I don't know. It's so scary. The more you do that, the worse it gets. But if we just act, the brain doesn't have time to create that fear, right? If I'm walking on a bridge, yeah, I'm getting a little more scared. You know, one of those skinny bridges, the rope bridges. I'm getting a little more scared of the heights because I'm a little scared of heights. But the more I'm on that bridge, either the more comfortable I'm getting because technically you're facing that fear then, or the more I'm thinking, wow, this is scary. Probably more so though if we're not on the bridge yet and we're just thinking about crossing that bridge, even the more scarier that is. Therefore, the best way to overcome this doubt, like I just said through that bridge, is to move, is to go do it before the mind catches up and processes what we might be doing, what could be happening, what might happen in doing this movement. That's why this activity, this performance, this game, this match, you name it. That's why this trick is the act before fear. And it's pretty simple, act before fear, but count down. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Do not let the fear build you. And it's one thing, you might need a partner and it's to push you if you need that countdown, but it makes you actually go because you're going to count down 3, 2, 1, go. And then you're like, and you pause and you don't actually go. Right. You probably either yourself or someone has done that. I've done that a little bit. I'm like, I should really go talk to that person. All right, I'm going to go talk to the person. And then I don't go talk to them, right? But it's the same thing. That's why we can use this other part of the pre-commitment. If we decide beforehand that you're going to act without hesitation, you're then telling yourself, and if we do that once, if we do that twice, we start to build that self-autonomy with ourselves. We know that we can do this stuff, this self-efficacy, and we can build it all up together. And I use skydiving now because I actually have gone skydiving now, and it is a surreal moment. But like most people say, or when you ask people about it, what's the craziest part? What's the best part? What's the scariest part? The scariest part is not the actual jump, okay? It's not free falling. You reach terminal velocity and yeah, you feel the air, but you're not actually falling anymore. It's standing on that edge. It's the anticipation. You got to fly all the way up. If you're in the window seat like I was, your feet's hanging out the door and the wind's flapping on. You got to tuck it in. You got to hold yourself up in that crunch position, waiting to go, looking out the window. Oh my gosh, this is so cool, but it's pretty scary. And then it's all right, we're strapping you in. We got to go. And then you start scooting towards the edge. All right, are you ready? And then all of a sudden you're, man, oh man, that heart is beating. You take the leap, that fear disappears. And that's why thinking increases fear. As tip number 4, we want to act before fear. Lastly is tip number 5, action creates confidence. Like really, how do you build real confidence? Confidence is not with anyone I work with. Yeah, we walk through situations, but it's not something we think about. Okay, it's something that you earn. It's something that we do. But if we're just waiting to feel ready, it never works. When we work with people, with athletes or the teams, we never wait to feel ready. Hey, once you're feeling good about it, go try it. No, it's try it out in the practice. See how it feels. Get some of those reps and then go do it. See if you want to use it in the game. If not, take it back, go do what you usually do. Building that confidence comes from acting first, putting in those reps, even if we are unsure. Put it in situation where we should be doing this, how we should be doing it. Okay, don't take any of my words and twist them around here, but action creates the confidence. And this trick is the do first, believe later, because it's going to be sometimes hard to believe. But if we start doing first, we can start to build those small wins daily. And that just means doing something uncomfortable. A lot of these exercises for the mental gym that I give to people I work with, it's something that they have to do. It's something that they have to go apply, that they have to go try, and then they come back and we talk about it and we elevate the game. We add more layers to the cake. We keep building up the mental muscles. We reverse the order is the other tool here. And we don't want to wait to feel confident to act. We want to act first and then have the confidence follow, right? That first act, tying everything together, might be a little scary at first, but that's why we use everything that we talked about in this overall theme of stop overthinking and how to perform at our peak to really level it up. And I'll end that with Kobe Bryant, right? In the basketball space, in kind of any mental performance space, he's one of the top names. But he would practice hours before the games. Hours. He put hours under his belt, hours over other people. And his confidence wasn't mental. It wasn't, oh, his head. It wasn't, he's got something else in his head. It came from his action, from the added up hours in the gym, from studying the game. That's where this mental game can come in and how we can incorporate all the physical stuff with the mental stuff and put it in our peak performance to close out. Tip number 5 there. And to recap, like always, today we covered 5 key tips, tricks, and tools to stop overthinking and start doing. And that is exactly what we're looking at here. So let me go through them super fast. Number 1, overthinking slows you down. So we are going to flow, don't freeze. Trust that muscle memory instead of analyzing every move. Tip number 2 was thinking creates hesitation. So we're going to be that river. We're going to keep moving forward and avoid overanalyzing decisions. Tip number 3 is trust your training. We're going to go on autopilot mode and rely on what we've drilled instead of second guessing and what we've drilled into that muscle memory. Tip number 4, thinking increases fear. So we're going to act before fear. And that comes from the moving before the doubt has time to creep in and grow and plant its seeds and flourish. We're going to move before that doubt even gets the chance. And lastly, tip number 5 was action creates confidence. Do first, believe later. Confidence comes from taking that action, not waiting to feel ready. So, the Athletes Health Titans, TAH Titans, stop waiting, stop analyzing, and start doing. Catch you on next week's deep dive with the Athletes Health. Gabe, always here to help level up your game.